Tim's most excited for the Samurai Cobb Robert Scoot tag match. I am most excited for Victor Sterling versus Boyce LeGrande. This is the third time they fought in PPW. First time, Sterling beat Boyce.
Upset.
In a non-title match. On our last show, Sterling looked like he was going to beat Boyce for the title until
Lucius Sweet
came out and interfered on Boyce's behalf. And so now we have the third match in the series. The first two have been good. I love both guys. I'm really excited. There's a lot of bad blood now. You know, you ripped a title out of a guy's hands, a title that Boyce has been holding on to by hook or by crook. Sterling obviously shown that he can beat Boyce. What has Boyce done in the last 2 months to prepare for this?
And remember when we started doing these, who were the two guys that were the loudest when we were bringing up their matches? It was Victor, and it was Boyce.
They
right?
definitely sent comments because they knew that we were
these
talking
guys,
about their match.
So you have a guy in Boyce who you want to talk about braggadocious or brash or what have you. He's the king of it, right? But then you have a guy like Victor Sterling who has been really doing everything he can to get over the hump. He's really, him and Jack Madison just won the tag team championships. I believe I think it was Big Time Wrestling.
It was in BT. I know Sterling's the U.S. champ
right,
in BTW. I know he has been. It sounds like such a cliche. He's been putting time in the gym, but he has been. He's working so hard.
If you follow him on Twitter, you can see.
He's
always at the gym. He's
constantly
really
putting
hard,
gym,
putting some extra weight on.
He's excited that he finally hit 210.
Yeah,
200.
This is a guy who wrestled, I think, in high school. Pretty low. I think it was like 185 or something like that. I'll have to double check with that. But at the same time, this is a guy who realizes, he's young. He's 23, 24 years old. This is his time. This is him. We talked about with Scoot. We talked about with Will Roberts. He's a guy who sees an opportunity. He's getting this opportunity now, and he feels like this is it. Like this has to be it between him and Boyce because he's already beat him once. The second time, he was very close until shenanigans happened. Now it's like, okay, this is the bottom line, your last chance. Boyce has to do it in a way that allows him to show once and for all that he can beat Victor without the help of Lucius or what have you. And this becomes kind of the ultimate test in a very long, near 2-year-long reign as the Dynamite Division champion for Boyce LeGrande.
Well, you can tell that Boyce LeGrande maybe wasn't taking these title challenges all that seriously. He was coming out and he was making a lot of claims. He was being very loud. He was accepting a challenge from anyone.
Well, the Victor Sterling one, remember, he said it wasn't on the line because he was tired of defending it and just rolling over people.
So he was extremely confident. But we saw in this last match, he came out and it was a very different Boyce LeGrande. He didn't grab the mic. He didn't insult the promotion. He wasn't wasting time jawing with the crowd the way that we know that he can do. His infinite smugness. He didn't present any of that, and he came out with an extra element.
Right, and you have to know. I mean, that's the first time he's had this extra element. So you have to know that I'm not going to use the word scared, even though I just did. But obviously, that was premeditated. This was planned. This was the fallback plan.
He was stacking the deck in his favor as much as possible. So clearly,
which he's never done before.
He must be following Victor Sterling on Twitter as well. He knows that this guy's coming prepared, and he needs to bring everything he can.
But let's give Boyce some credit here. He's been 20 years basically as a professional wrestler. He knows what it takes to hold on to a championship.
I don't want to take anything
right. I
away
mean,
from Boyce
at this point,
the guy deserves his
He wouldn't let you.
No, no lie. But at the same time, you take into account this is a calculated decision, but he's still a guy that every time he's come out here, save for the time that Sterling got the upset, and now this DQ win, that he was amongst the most impressive wrestlers that have stepped through that curtain here in PPW. He is still a guy who has one of the most vicious finishing moves here in PPW. He is one of those guys that from basically any angle can figure out a way to beat you. he has so many tricks up his sleeve. He's, the old saying, he has forgotten more about pro wrestling than perhaps Victor Sterling has learned. And this is a guy who, more than anything, just wants to show that, even with bringing Lucius in the fold, even with this being the quote-unquote last shot must be a winner type match, that, you know what, I'm the champ for a reason, and this quote-unquote little punk doesn't have a chance, right? But I'll say this. Victor Sterling has done enough in his year or so in PPW to show me that he is willing to take on all comers. He has a work ethic that is unmatched, and he has a focus, now a singular focus for these last 6 months, where he's trying to, in his eyes, shut Boyce up and claim a championship that for him would open opportunities up in Gold Rush, which would open opportunities in APW and so on and so forth. He's trying to become a figure in this Bay Area wrestling scene that, in the last couple of years has started to blow up a little bit. This is starting to look like the time, when Eric and I were first coming up and you were coming up, where, all of a sudden the Bay Area was the hotbed for independent wrestling. And we're kind of in another boom right now. And Victor Sterling, I think, wants to be a part of that boom.
Now is the time to be a champion. I
Right.
mean, you will never have more eyes on you. Well, hopefully there are more eyes always keep coming in. But I mean, like it is better now than it has been. It is a wonderful time to be holding the belt, to be on top of a larger hill than maybe there has been recently. So there's all kinds of reasons why Victor wants to take this belt right now.